Okay, so here I have M4 iPad Pro with baseline configuration, which is of 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. Okay, so we have Geekbench 6 opened up. Here we can see my current OS is 18.1, which is a public beta. I have shifted from developer beta to public beta and I have just updated it today. Now let's see how it performs in CPU benchmarks and GPU benchmarks. Let's run the CPU benchmark. Okay, so test has been ended. We can see we have single core score of 3673 and multi-core score of 13,306. And now if I compare these scores with other products, then let's go to single core first. Here we have 3673 for single core, and then it's showing we have iPhone 15 Pro with 2908 and 15 Pro Max with 2899 and so on. For multi-core scores, we can see we have 13,306 for this device, and for M2 iPad Pro we have 9,622, and for M1 it goes 8,160 and so on. And now let's go for the GPU benchmarks. So first of all, let's tap GPU benchmarks and then run GPU benchmarks. Okay, so it took about a minute to complete this test and we have got our scores of 55,750, which is very good scores compared to previous generations M2 and M1, which were in the iPad. So now if we compare these to other Apple products, if we go into GPU, then we can see that iPad Pro M2 scores around 45,135 and iPad Pro M1 scored around 32,105. Here we can see we have a jump of about 10,000 points, which is considered a good jump. So as you can see, we have scores of iPhone 15 Pro around 27,105 and iPhone 15 Pro Max with around 27,000. So this is the performance in normal mode. So if we turn it to the low power mode, then let's see how it performs in low power mode. So let's see how powerful are the efficiency cores in this iPad. So let's switch it to first low power mode and then let's again do these benchmarks. Now let's jump into the CPU benchmarks with low power mode enabled. We got our scores, but let's me disable the low power mode because otherwise the display will go off quickly. We got our single core score of 1863 and multi-core scores of 6098. Normal mode it took about 4 minutes, but in low power mode it took around 5.5 minutes. So we have our scores of 1863 for single core and multi-core scores of 6098, which are pretty good scores. So if we look at these benchmarks, we have 1863. We can see it is the same level performance between A13 and A14, and for multi-core we have got 6098, which is again a very good performance in low power mode, and it has the level of performance between A15 and A16. So which results that even in low power mode this chipset is very much powerful and also efficient, which will help in saving the battery life. Now let's do a benchmark test for GPU in low power mode. So let's jump into the GPU section. First of all, let's turn low power mode on. And now let's jump into the GPU benchmarks. Okay, so we have got our scores. We have GPU metal scores of 30,821 and it took about 15 seconds longer compared to normal mode. So if we compare it to the other devices, we can see even in low power mode we have 30,821 points, which is more than compared to that of iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, and the performance of this iPad in low power mode is comparable to that of M1 chip. Here we can see M1 chip scores 32,105 and we have 30,821. So even in low power mode this chipset is very much capable of doing things, and also it shows the efficiency power of the Apple Silicon. Okay, so this is the test we conducted in Geekbench 6. If you enjoyed, then give it a thumbs up, and also let me know down in the comment section if you want any dedicated video around M4 iPad Pro.